In reading your book, man, I was really surprised at just how much soloing or free solo adjacent activities I guess you guys pursued at that point in time. And when I say like free solo adjacent, I mean like huge gaps between putting in equipment, and to the point where if you fell, I mean, you almost might as well not have had a rope in a lot of circumstances.
Yes, it helps to explain that climbing was different back then.
Yeah.
These days, climbing's in the Olympics. Climbing is at every gym in every city in the United States practically. And it's a safe kind of climbing, this kind of what we call sport climbing. There was no sport climbing, and that is well-protected climbing where you're focused just on difficulty, not on risk. That kind of climbing wasn't known in the early 70s. It started to come about in the late 70s, really, from Europe. Europeans started doing that kind of we climbed from the ground up always. We wouldn't rappel down from the top and put in protection. Sport climbing started developing, and people would put protection in, pre-place it
where
from the top.
You would know where the bolt was going to be.
You bolt or piton or whatever it was, you would place the protection first. And we had a pretty strict ground up ethic. You start from the ground and just climb to the top.
Yeah. And if you don't know where the next safe spot is, too bad.
Right. And so it entailed more risk and it's just today, you can still do what we call trad now, traditional climbing, still involves more risk than sport climbing. But for us, it was an essential part of the game. The game was climb as hard technically as you could, as hard a move as you could, climb on smaller holds, more sustained difficulty, but also people were admired. I say that in the book that difficulty was plotted on two factors: the technical difficulty and risk, and the danger of it. And it was a part of that game that if you could control your mind in a dangerous situation and keep your head and climb through without taking a big fall or potentially killing yourself, that was a skill that was admired and still admired to this day. Look at Alex Honnold. It still goes on these days at a much higher level. But that's, what you marvel at with somebody like Alex Honnold or John Beck or Peter Croft or these other people who are great soloists, and Tobin Sorensen too, is that ability to control their mind in dangerous situations.
There is, it's very difficult to quantify this stuff, but one of the ways that rock climbers have learned how to deal with this in a sane way, intuitively everybody knows this, but as a sort of protocol, is that you do not challenge difficulty and danger at the same time. You just don't. If it's really hard, it's got to be really safe.
Yeah.
Right?
If it's really dangerous,
it's got to be really easy.
Oh, okay.
Right? See, the thing that made Tobin so crazy was he would do really hard things that were really unsafe. And that was just something that just intuitively, look, if I don't mind riding my bike on a single track that has a big drop off. The single track is dead flat and it's got no bumps in it, and I'm a good rider.
But if there's pitches and bumps,
dude, I'm not doing that, right? And I don't mind going 1,000,000 miles an hour down a file trail if it's really good, even if there is a big drop off. But you start putting, you start thinning it out and having it be like the edge of El Cap and yada yada. You start thinking about not doing it or slowing down or something, right? You just don't do both. You don't do hard and dangerous at the same time, right? So you can deal with the uncertainty. Most people like to deal with the uncertainty of hard. I mean, I'm going to keep it safe. Like the system's pretty safe, and I don't know whether I can do this, but it's because I don't know whether I can technically do it or not. I'm not going to pay the piper if I can't, right? The thing about traditional climbing is you're going to pay for it. That's what made it so exciting, is it wasn't inherently safe. So you had to really be careful. And that's what made it so exciting. And yes, you could look at that as being selfish, but goddamn, it was fun and electrifying.
Hey everybody, thank you for watching that Backcountry Manifesto pod clip. For more Backcountry Manifesto, make sure to click that little picture in the circle down there and subscribe. For the full episode we got this clip from, you can click that top video there. And if you want to keep the clip train rolling, you can check out the playlist right here. Come on, you got time for one more. Tell them there's like traffic or a bear. A bear is always a legitimate excuse. Somebody's going, well, nobody's going to be like, how big was the bear? Where was the bear? A bear is a bear.